All right. Thank you, Thomas, and welcome everyone to this talk about the teacher's learning environment and what iEarth can do to improve our culture. And I'm going to come back during this talk about what kind of improvements we are looking for. And this talk is mainly about what we work with in what we call focus area 3 in iEarth. iEarth is divided into different focus areas, so this is one of them, and it's the one that I am leading. It has some background that I would like to just mention here, since this is a collaborative effort. So Mathias Lundmark from the University of Oslo and Kirsty Donnet from the University of Oslo are also both very active in this, even though they also work with the other focus areas. And Mathias earlier led this focus area of iEarth. So in addition to us, we are also recruiting a postdoc to UIT in Tromsø, and the application deadline expired yesterday, and I think that looks like we will get a candidate for that position later this spring, hopefully. But that's just in process. And I will just mention the goals of this excuse me, this focus area. So what we overall want to achieve is that we have a collaborative culture for teaching, and then we want to change this personally owned teaching for individual lecturers towards collegial efforts where we use evidence-based learning practices and share best experiences and so on. And this is what I will dwell on during the next 15-20 minutes or so. And while I talk, I would like you to reflect a little bit. You can maybe take a screenshot or photo with your phone or something about of this slide here. So I want you to reflect a little bit about how you want iEarth to stimulate a collaborative culture for teaching, and how you think we can change our culture in iEarth, and that means also in the department you are working on, how we can move towards this collegial effort where we use evidence-based learning practices. So just reflect about that while I talk, and please use the chat box to enter your viewpoints there, and then Thomas will keep track of that. And we can take it up for discussion afterwards. So this is basically an illustration of what we want to. This is the classical situation at many university departments where people are working alone, and many times the wheel is being reinvented. And this is a good recipe for how you deliver a fragmented education. I think many of us are familiar with this. Hopefully, many of us are also getting familiar with the right-hand side here, where we see that we build on each other's strengths and experiences and try to build a coherent education that we offer the students, and the students are active partners in. And I will go through some of the activities that we do in iEarth to reach these goals. So maybe you know some of them. I hope you know the homepage of iEarth, because we try to use that as a site to store educational resources in a virtual competence center. Then we also try to make teaching a scientific enterprise by using this evidence-based teaching practice and supporting scholarship of teaching and learning activities with students as partners. And we organize an annual GeoLearning Forum, and we want that to be the national meeting place for earth science teaching and learning. And I think we already come really far with that. Going to come back to some details about that. Also, we run a competence group in higher education research in earth science. That consists of the PhD students, postdocs, and scientific staff. And the output of that is PhD thesis and papers, and also other papers. So let's first have a look at this collegial enterprise and our educational research resource site. Many of us took a course that was organized for BioSeed and iEarth about leading educational change, so we can be better equipped to drive this change and act as change agents, you could say. So you have one of us at each department in iEarth, and we also offer digital learning forum. Maybe you remember that from the COVID lockdown times, where that was very busy. We had 19 of those in 2021, and then it was declined a little bit on purpose. So we had 4 in 2022, and we have a few planned for this year, so that we can also reach out to people this way. Then the digital learning forum, they also shared at our educational resources site at the new homepage, and this is how it looks. So you can maybe visit that also and have a look at what's there. And there's also continuously being filled up to that resource site. So the scientific enterprise through evidence-based teaching and SoTL activities, it's happening through a number of activities, and I think it's really impressive that we have for the first 2 years of iEarth funded 53 of these small seed projects that many of you have applied for, and some of them you have completed, and also we just added 24 projects, meaning that we have funded a total of 77 of these small seed projects. That is really where much of this is happening, and it offers funding, it offers time, and so on for both staff and students to actually do this change that we want to happen. And I think it's so impressive to see what's going on also during the GeoLearning Forum, that I'm just going to dwell a little bit with these slides here listing each project. So we span very widely from field activities at various digital activities and developing shared courses, developing alumni networks, and organizing workshops for staff with troublesome knowledge, running the iEarth students organization at each partner institution, even creating soundtracks for geoscience. And for 2022, we had these 24 new projects, and some of these are also focusing on what we want to achieve in this part of iEarth, namely this national and collaborative effort where we, for instance, develop shared courses. So there's one here listed at the top of the fall project here, developing national GIS and remote sensing courses and teaching, and many more. So I'm not going to read up all these, but you can visit, for instance, the annual report of iEarth to see the newly funded seed projects. And what these seed projects actually do, it's stimulation of co-creation, and it's involvement of colleagues, it's involvement of several institutions, and that can be both the usual suspects in iEarth, and it can be other geoscience institutions in Norway and abroad that collaborate in these seed projects. Also, we stimulate communication and dissemination and sharing of best practice from these seed projects. And it might also be that we want to encourage at least larger projects to include the publication of peer-reviewed work in an educational journal or presentation at a scholarship of teaching and learning conference. So this is what we try to stimulate with these 77 projects, which is so far, I think, a huge achievement of iEarth to actually have funded these projects, and much more is to come out of those. We also want to open up these seed projects for less rigid application deadlines, so that you can actually submit an application when you have a good idea and get a reply without having to wait for rigid deadlines. So we'll come back to more info on the homepage regarding that. Then we have this GeoLearning Forum that is the national meeting place for Earth science teaching. It's has been in 2021 in Asker with 113 participants, and out of those, about half were students. And last time in Bergen, we had 120 participants, and again, approximately half were students. And if you were not around for these two GeoLearning Fora, I think you should join us next time. So the 6th iEarth GeoLearning Forum, that will be somewhere near Oslo in November, from November 8th to 9th this year. So you might want to reserve the dates for that. The competence group in higher educational research in Earth science, it's started up together with the startup of the iEarth Center of Excellence. It's currently led by Associate Professor 2 Anders Schomacker here in Tromsø. And it's a group for mainly for the iEarth PhD students and postdocs, but the senior staff with research interests are, of course, also welcome, and everyone that wants to do this kind of educational research is welcome to it. So it's not some exclusive club. Just join these activities if you are interested and want to be active in it. And our new postdoc is also expected to join this group later this year. So I think I would also like to point out a few success stories from this higher educational research group, namely the publications that are already coming out. So 2023 paper in Journal of Structural Geology, first authored by Rafael Borata, with a digital educational data package for teaching structural geology. So I really encourage that you have a look at these publications from iEarth that start to come out. There are also two papers by the former PhD student here at UIT. One study of how students experience geological time, which is really something that affects all of us working with geological data and or studying geology. So I encourage also to visit Jenny's paper here, and yet another paper about active and passive transductions and how that implicates learning. So these papers, they are all open access, and you can access them and read as you want. Also, one of the deliverables of iEarth is to build an educational system that connects the UN sustainability goals with Earth system science educational goals, and we have not yet been very active on that. So if you have any specific suggestions for how we can act on that, feel free to take it up afterwards or write it in the chat box This poster might be familiar to many of you. It shows you how geoscientists can help meet the society's future challenges and achieve these sustainable development goals. Just as an example, geoscientists can be contributing by access to clean water, access to green energy, and so on and so forth. Really encourage that you visit this poster if you are not aware of it. And we have had some activities to try to kickstart this in iEarth, namely by some workshops led by Susan Kaspari, professor from Central Washington University, at Fulbright Scholar in Norway from 2022 to 23. And Susan has been organizing these pilot workshops on integrating sustainability into the curriculum. And she has visited Bergen, Oslo, and Unis in this winter to try to also provide a good starting point for this work in iEarth. And I took one of Susan's slides here to illustrate how you can incorporate these sustainability goals into teaching, so that the students can make a connection between their geological knowledge and the challenges that the world are facing. And so the SLOs here are student learning outcomes, and ideally we want to have these incorporated into lessons and assignments. It's easy to phrase this in program descriptions or strategy plans for universities, but we want to see this as part of individual courses and even down onto individual lesson and assignment level, so that we can actually do concrete work. Few words on what iEarth plans to do in this field for this year and further out in the future. So we want to continue our development of these shared courses and shared resources across the consortium and also across other institutions in a wider perspective. For instance, there are already efforts within quaternary geological methods, geochronology, and GIS going on. There might be more. These are just some examples that I know of going on. We also want to continue putting stuff and resources out on the educational resource webpage. And then we have an aim of having more local meetings to both to present like the final outcome of seed projects or to do actual work within these seed projects, or to meet during a seminar like this, so that there's local activities, local iEarth activities going on. Also, regular workshops for the faculty about cultural change and how we can actually achieve this change. Input to that is planned, and following up on how we as faculty can integrate sustainability into the curriculum. We want to add on to the workshops that Susan Kaspari has started with, and follow up on that in the GeoLearning Forum in November. We also want to continue these shared courses, as I said, and so this is was actually a double slide here. Sorry for that. For some reason, two of that. Sorry for that. Our cultural change that we want to reach, it's sometimes difficult to actually do something at other institutions So this is a focus area of iEarth that I lead. So it's easy for me, relatively easy for me to do things and take action in Tromsø. It's less easy to actually do this change and act at other institutions. So I think this is something I would really like to hear from the audience, how we can actually improve this. How can we drive this change better at all the iEarth institutions? Also, it's challenging to actually document the effect of our actions. This is partly covered by the research, postdoc research and the PhD research, but not in its whole. And also here at UIT, we have a regular workshop series, seminar series about cultural change, and that attracts actually all faculty. We almost see everyone for these seminars every time, and it seems to be something that works. So maybe that's something for the faculty at the UIB, UIO, and UNIS. iEarth also aims for everyone to, and by everyone I mean all faculty, to have a teaching portfolio that is maintained. And how can we actually reach that goal? Do we need some local action for that? That would be great to hear. And what do you think the good or the best way to share them is? We had a workshop on that here in Tromsø, and it was really a pleasure to see that almost all faculty here is positive towards sharing these teaching portfolios online. So we'll follow up on that and probably have a pilot at the iEarth homepage, because this is something that we need to tick off before the midway of iEarth. And it's also really helpful for new colleagues and colleagues that do not yet have teaching portfolio to have such shared resources. We also want to hear more about the outcome of seed projects. So a little bit more visibility of those would be great. That can be posters, it can be oral presentations at conferences or department seminars, or just a poster outside your office. More activity in social media, and even some traveling around to the different iEarth institutions to present to the staff and students what actually comes out of these 77 seed projects. I also want to finish with some conclusions from a study that Jostein and Maria Jensen and myself did on cultural changes among the iEarth faculty in Bergen, Tromsø, and UNIS. So we tried to investigate whether this increased focus on teaching and learning actually makes the colleagues more interested in joining this change action. And it's very positive to see that the faculty members that we interviewed, they are intrinsically motivated to improve the learning situation for the students, and also to be inspired from taking pedagogical courses, developing teaching portfolios, sharing teaching portfolios, and to receive feedback from students and co-create with the students. So that's very positive that this motivation, it is there. But then the last bullet point here, we also received a very clear response from the faculty that there's a lack of time and funding that kind of prevents this or some of this cultural change to actually take place. And this is also a point where iEarth can actually do something, and we are doing something by offering funding for seed projects, by being available to actually work with faculty on some of these ideas. And faculty can approach iEarth, they can approach the education chairs or the focus area leaders and the students, and anyone else to try to develop activities that drive this change. It's also a reply that comes from most faculty that gets this question. So it's not a unique iEarth outcome here that university faculty reports a lack of time and funding. You will see that from most faculty, I think. So I think with that, I will open up for some feedback here, some ideas and discussion, and maybe there's something in the chat box. I can't see that from here. I hope there is, because the normal or usual suspects here, we have discussed this quite some time. So I hope we have reached out to other colleagues and students here so that we can get some inspiration. So I think I will stop sharing here